I grew up in New York City, and I was always really enthralled with sort of the mom and pop flavors of, you know, Dominican restaurants, Puerto Rican restaurants, Cuban restaurants. Here at Province, what we've done is sort of have an American cafe with the influence of the flavors of South America and Spain. So we use a lot of the indigenous products that come from South America and Spain and sort of work those into what a lot of times is really classic cooking. My ingredient is tamarind, so we've got some tamarind pods, kind of just to show you. They're a lot of work. Seeds are really not edible. What you want to use is the paste that comes off the inside of it. So luckily for us, there are companies that go out and sell the paste. It's got a little bit of acidity as well as a little bit of sort of a natural sweetness to it, hence why it works well in an agua fresca, but it does have sort of that sort of jowl-grabbing acidity, and that's why in the recipe that I did, I used some molasses in there, which sort of counteracts that and sort of acts as the opposite to it. And we're going to just actually take everything, put it into a food processor. At home you could do it in a blender if you wanted to as well. I wouldn't recommend like a Vitamix as a high-speed blender because you want a little bit of texture to that marinade, which is why I like doing it in a food processor. So we start with a little bit of molasses. There's a little sweetness from that. We're going to kind of get our acidity in a few different ways. We're going to add a little bit of sherry vinegar to that, and add a little bit of lemon juice. And I always like to use a little bit of citrus in it, and I think that it brings out that sort of tropical notes. A little bit of Creole mustard. We've got a little bit of roasted garlic. I love using roasted garlic. I love the sweetness of roasted garlic versus using raw garlic. For a little bit of heat, some pickled serranos, a little bit of ginger, which again I think gives a nice spicy flavor note to what we're doing, and at the same time adds a little bit of heat but also rounds out the flavor of the tamarind and the mustard and the vinegars together. We've got a little bit of orange zest in there, obviously a little bit of tamarind paste, and in order to get it to a point where I can make it pourable, I added just a touch of vegetable stock and whisked it together. Oddly enough, tamarind is an ingredient in Worcestershire sauce, and we actually use a little bit of Worcestershire in making our house-made ketchup. So we're going to add a little bit of that. Everything's in there. So what we did was we took some of that marinade, sort of forced it underneath the skin, and then sort of covered it over and let those flavors stick in overnight. So we're just going to get a little bit of color on our skin on here, and then we're going to go into an oven that's probably 450 is kind of nice. I always like to take a marinade and then repeat those flavors as a sauce, either as the marinade or take some of the elements from that marinade and then reuse them in a sauce. It came out nice. It's not overly hot and spicy. It's kind of got that nice balance of sweetness, sourness, and a little bit of a back finish heat to it. I think the tamarind really gives it that really well-rounded acidity to it, and sort of that sour flavor that acidity doesn't really necessarily give you. It was kind of fun doing this because it kind of reminded me of some things I did in the past, and I'm sure it's going to end up on our spring menu somehow. He brings a lot of different global flavors into his food, and I'm really curious to see if he'll do something that's Asian inspired or American inspired or even Mexican inspired.